Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ogando's Family channel. Today we'll be making a traditional beef stew with a Dominican twist over some white rice. If you would like to learn how to make this recipe, keep watching. So for the ingredients, you will need white rice, oregano, sour orange or Naranja agria, black pepper, slow cooker beef stew mix, celery, cilantro, baby red potatoes, yuca, green onion, chuck roast beef or the beef of your choice, basil, 3 plantain, 1 whole onion, garlic, and some baby carrots. So for the first step, you just want to cut the fat off of your meat. If you don't mind the fat, you can just skip this step and just put the whole chunk of meat into the pot, or you can cut it into, I would say, like 3 big chunks. You don't want to cut your meat into small pieces because your meat will shred later once it cooks. Okay, so after doing this, you just want to season both sides with salt and pepper and rub that in really good. This is just going to tenderize the meat but also give it a really good flavor. So after seasoning your meat on both sides with salt and pepper, you just want to go ahead and add a tablespoon of vegetable oil inside of your pressure cooker and brown your meat on both sides for about 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want to cook your meat here. You're just trying to form a nice brown crust and give it a beautiful color and a really nice flavor. Okay, so after browning it on both sides, you can go ahead and just turn off the pressure cooker and just leave that to the side for just a moment while you cut your vegetables. So first, you just want to start off by cutting your garlic. Now, you can either use a garlic smasher, you can cut it into small pieces, or you can use a molcajete, which is what I'm going to use, which is pretty much just like a stone bowl or like a rock bowl with a smasher. Now you can get this at your local Latino store, Target, or Walmart. We actually got ours at Target. If I can find the link, I will leave it in the description box below if you're interested. And from here, you just want to cut your celery into small pieces along with your onion. If you don't like to actually eat the celery or the onion, you can just cut a big chunk and just take it out at the very end. You will still get the flavor, but not have to actually eat it. I know some people are really picky about that, especially if they have kids. Okay, now I'm just cutting the green onion. Now this is also optional if you want to add it in with your other ingredients or if you want to add it in at the end to keep the crunchiness. For this recipe, I just added it with everything else because I found that it don't really make a big difference. Okay, so here I'm just cutting the plantain. I did try to show this in the video. I do apologize. I didn't realize that I wasn't actually recording that part. You can't really see it. But you pretty much just want to cut along that line that I showed and just pull off the skin. It is very difficult. I've been doing it for 10 years and I cook plantain very, very frequently in a variety of ways, and I still take off big chunks of the plantain when I peel it. So it's definitely a skill that takes time. So if you pull some of the chunks off, it is okay. Don't worry about it. But you pretty much just want to pull that skin off and set that to the side. So now we're going to move on and put our garlic and oregano into the smasher, and we're going to smash it until it forms a like a paste. Now here I am using Dominican oregano. You can use whatever oregano that you have on hand. I prefer the Dominican oregano, as I've said in previous videos, just because it has a very potent flavor and it just gives the food a different taste. And because this is a traditional American dish with a Dominican twist, we definitely need that Dominican oregano. Okay, so again, if you don't have this tool, you could just use a garlic smasher and then just add the oregano once you start to cook everything together. It's your preference, whatever you have on hand, just use that. So after I smash this and form like a really pasty consistency, then it will be done. And I really like to use this because once you start to smash the garlic like this, it really starts to bring out the flavor in the garlic. And it's just different. You just have to try it. Okay, so here I'm just going to cut the plantain into chunks. This is going to give this beef stew a very different flavor. This is where that Dominican twist comes into play. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like another form of potato in a sense, but it just has a completely different flavor. And I know for a lot of you, you've never even tasted plantain. It does not taste like a banana, so don't worry about that, and it's not sweet. So here I'm just adding my yuca, baby carrots, and celery. Now with the Yuca, you can get this at your local supermarket. It comes in the frozen section. You do not need to do anything to it. You do not need to defrost it. You do not need to cut it. You can just throw the big chunks in there just like that. With your baby potatoes and carrots, it's up to you if you want to cut them. I decided to leave the baby potatoes just like that and then cut the carrots in half. Now here I'm just showing the directions on how to mix the beef stew packet. So you just put that powder into half a cup of water, stir that together, and add it into the pot. Here I thought that I was recording putting my seasonings in, but I realized that it didn't record anything, so I just went ahead and showed you what I put. So I put a teaspoon of parsley, a teaspoon of rosemary, a teaspoon of salt and pepper, a teaspoon of oregano, and a teaspoon of beef powder. After adding all of that in, I just went ahead and mixed everything together, put the lid on, pressed cancel, and did the meat stew setting for 35 minutes. And I just pressed start. Now, after 35 minutes, depending on what type of meat that you got and how thick you got it, it may be tender or it may need to cook a little longer. If you find that it's still tough, just cook it for an additional 25 to 30 minutes and your beef should be perfectly tender. And at that point, you can go ahead and shred it, or you can just break it up into big chunks. Now, what you pair your beef stew with is completely optional and completely up to you. We like to pair ours with some white rice in a bowl, and we like to pour the beef stew on top of it because the rice soaks up all the juices and flavor from the beef stew. And we like to top ours with avocado. Now, if you're not a fan of avocado, or if you've never tried it, you could just garnish it with some cilantro or parsley, or you can just eat it by itself. I mean, it's really just up to you and what your family prefers. We prefer to eat it this way. It's very filling, and the rice just absorbs all of the juices, and it just tastes absolutely amazing. But guys, just give it a try and let me know if you like it. I really hope that you and your family enjoys it, and this is just a nice twist on a traditional meal. And I love giving new things a try and experimenting with things and trying different dishes. But just look at that meat. Look how juicy and tender it is. I was so proud of this meal, and my kids absolutely loved it. And I love how the plantain and the potatoes, they still stay whole without getting mushy, because I hate having beef stew with mushy ingredients. So this is just perfect. And here we are to the next part, which is the taste test. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a blessed night. Hi guys, Ogando family here. We're back with a new recipe, our beef stew with a Dominican twist. We're going to go ahead and do our taste test. As you can see, he already started eating and he loves it from what he said. I'm going to go ahead and taste it myself.
Cannot wait. I couldn't wait, I thought it. This is too good.
So, I absolutely love this because this takes a traditional American dish and puts a Dominican twist on it with the plantain and the yuca, and really just pulls all of those flavors together. If any of you are familiar with sancocho, it's a little similar, but with just beef instead of all the different types of meats. What I really like about this is you can really taste the rosemary. Gives it a very earthy flavor. It's very hearty, very filling, very warm, especially on a cold day. I love it with the rice. The rice is the perfect texture, not too hard, not too soft. The meat is very tender. I will tell you, I originally put it for 30 minutes. After I checked it, I had to cook it an additional 30 minutes because the meat was still a little tough. So just depending on what type of meat that you buy, I did chuck roast and mine was pretty thick. So if you do get a more tender type of meat, then I think 30 minutes will be good. However, since mine was a little tougher, I did have to do a full hour in the pressure cooker under the stew meat setting. But guys, you really have to check this out and try this recipe. It's absolutely amazing, especially on a day like this where it's cold, the winter months. It just makes you feel all warm and cozy inside. The description box will have the full recipe, and we will continue to post videos every single week. We're still trying to find our schedule, what day we want to upload, and we're still trying to get in the hang of editing because we're not really pros at that yet since we just started the channel, so bear with us. But I'm really excited to share some more recipes and some more videos on health and lifestyle and much more. We have many ideas in store. So please subscribe and like if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.